Hey everyone, sorry. No, I'm sorry, but I was actually going to try and link my one-to-one session link into the chat before I started, but my brain is a bunch of scrambled eggs lately, so I'm just here. Hi, welcome. Hope you're doing well. It is Wednesday, May 7th, 2025. And I am doing a mental awareness support stream for you today. Wednesdays is normally when I have my anxiety class, and I figured this is the perfect stream to do this month for us, and just to kind of give you a place to share anything that you're struggling with. Now, of course, you're welcome to share publicly, or you're welcome to email me at she'srestored@gmail.com for any advice, prayer, and certainly if you're interested in setting up one-to-one sessions with me where I can help you in tailored, at your pace, virtual telehealth for you to kind of help you with your own significant struggles. So that's what today's going to be. I just did a live yesterday on anxiety for our Mind Heart Mondays, for those of you that were with me yesterday, and for those of you that weren't, I think I might just kind of overview that a little bit. I'm going to be doing this series all month long on Mondays. Anxiety and depression, actually. So if this is an affliction that you battle, this is a good class for you on Mondays. And as I say, I have a lot of experience in both, so I'd be happy to help you if that's something that you're interested in. But how is May going for you? This has been we're already in the first week of May, which is crazy to think about. But I've been hoping and expecting that May is going to be kind of a turnaround month for us as we're entering the second quarter of this year. So I pray that that's something that you've been experiencing in your life, is just at least little signs that the tide is about to turn, because it always does. And no matter what you're going through, you can find help in healing, wholeness. Hi, welcome. Good to see everybody. Welcome everyone in the chat. So yeah, as I say, this is an anxiety and depression support stream in honor of Mental Health Awareness Month. So if you guys have any questions relating to your mental health, I'm here to answer, hopefully. And certainly if I can't, I will keep you in prayer. But I do offer my one-to-one sessions pretty much all of 2025. I'm locking my rate at $25 a session, which is about half of what I normally charge. So if you're interested in my one-to-ones, reach out via email. I'll probably put it in the description. I don't think I've just put that specific link on there, so it's easier for you to just book it right away. But yes. Let's see. Oh, I got questions already. God bless you too. Hello, everybody. You sprained your ankle? Oh no. Yeah, you gotta take it easy with sprains for a little bit before you get back out there, whatever your field is. I'm not a psychiatrist, no. I'm a certified therapeutic art life coach. So I do have psychology knowledge and understanding, but I do non-clinical, mostly virtual therapeutic art. So I kind of help you on the inner healing journey. But I'm an artist, and I use the modalities of art, music, and movement to process pain. So yeah, if you're interested in that, please feel free to email me, she'srestored@gmail.com. And everything should be in my description for this video, and if not, certainly on my channel. If you're new, yes, I welcome you to join the She's Restored family. I'm actually going to introduce a mentorship program pretty soon. I actually found out not that long ago that my subscriber count is increasing, which is awesome. I've always done it organically because I believe God brings the people to us that are assigned to us. But once I hit that 500 subscriber mark, then I'm going to be able to bring you guys a lot more on the channel, which I'm very excited about. You have a question about sexuality. Yes, of course you may ask. This is an open platform, and I can answer to the best of my ability. So yes, if you're comfortable asking publicly, go ahead. And how are you, by the way? Where are y'all from? What time is it in your area? So as I was saying yesterday, I have a live stream called Mind Heart Mondays for those of you that are new, and I introduced this to anxiety and depression. I'm going to be doing a series all month long, so please tune in on Mondays for that if that's something that you're struggling with or interested in. Again, it's a class, so it's very generalized, but if you're struggling with it yourself and you're looking for some help, I'd be happy to help you. From Romania, awesome. Hi, good to see all of you. Mental health awareness. This is a Q&A support chat for you. So if you have any questions, feel free to ask. And yes, my name is Ruby, and I'm a certified therapeutic art life coach. For those of you wondering who I am, what I do, I'm in the States. And I do my work primarily online. So you can find me pretty easily for any kind of art therapy, music therapy, movement therapy, if that's something that you're interested in. And I'd be delighted to walk alongside you on your journey. Thank you. Appreciate that. So any more questions? Thank you for the love. So going back to the question about, yeah, so when you sprain, a sprain is obviously much better than a break in your ankle, but your ankle is a very, it's a very critical part of your body for support and for carrying your body weight. So obviously, I'm sure you've probably been to the doctor by now, but I would just do the RICE method, which is rest, ice, compression, and elevation. I have a dance background, so this is why I know this, by the way. And what's helped me in the past when I've had injuries, when I was very, very involved in dance, is any kind of, I don't know if they still sell it, but I used to use Tiger Balm, which is, it's pretty much like icy hot. It just kind of numbs your area for pain. And then the ACE wraps bandages, those are good to kind of keep your foot supported. Or you can find the ankle braces. Those are even better if you can fit them in your shoe. That's the only problem with those. And yeah, just stay off of it as much as possible. And then once you heal, usually a few weeks, then you slowly start doing some exercises to get your flexibility back. And then you obviously want to do some exercises for stability so you can get your weight back, you know, your balance back. By the way, I am going to be introducing She's Restored Body hopefully in the fall. Mostly dance and a lot of stretching. So if that's something you're interested in, stay tuned because that's coming. And like I say, I have a dance background, so I could probably actually help you with some of those stretches. I do have Monday through Friday classes. Most of them are mental health and just virtual teachings. But I will be introducing the exercise and fitness classes later this year, Lord willing. So yeah, do you have any more questions? What's your question, Ali? Can you elaborate on that, please? I'm not sure what you mean by that, or if you're just being silly. But yeah, anybody have any questions? How is your mental health doing these days? It's spring now, so most of us are away from the sad seasonal affective disorder of winter and the winter blues, because, well, that does weigh on us, especially if we're in a place that we don't see the sun a lot. That affects us a lot, actually. Let's see. Oh, okay. So you're struggling with pornography? That's your question? That is, yeah, that's a difficult one, I would imagine, for some. I think you, in general terms, should understand that it is a form of addiction, obviously, and it is, addiction is very, very diabolical. So with addiction, I must actually learn to get to some of my roots as to why, whether it's physical, mental, emotional, or spiritual addiction, because there's all kinds. But if you're someone who, I think part of coming to the understanding is understanding what you're struggling with, what you're running from, what your roots are. If you had any kind of childhood trauma, sexual trauma especially, believe it or not, this is something that, especially if it was when we were younger and we don't remember maybe, or it's sort of repressed, this can come out later in life as forms of addiction. And it can be one extreme or the other. So you can be someone who's hypersexual because of childhood trauma. And even if it wasn't a sexual trauma, if it was just maybe a physical trauma or mental or emotional trauma that impacted your self-worth, how you feel about yourself, you can actually go one way or the other. So my advice to you is, certainly if you're interested in trying to get into this deeper, I would invite you to a one-to-one session so we can kind of help you kind of find out where this is coming from. But in the meantime, I would maybe do some journaling and do some self-reflection and ask yourself, you know, kind of where you're at mentally and emotionally when it comes to myself. How do I view myself? And when you start, you know, feeling, you know, because you can catch yourself, believe it or not, even when you're in addiction, there's always triggers. There's always, you know, I don't know how to call it, but like the switch where you can catch yourself before you actually give in to the temptation and the addiction. So recognizing that within yourself is very important to begin to shift and turn it around. Hope that helps. Your question, yes, what exactly was your question, Razvan? Can you elaborate a little bit more on that? Is there like a specific area that you're wrestling with in that? Because it is a little bit general, so if you could just kind of share a little bit more if you'd like. Or you can email me, shesrestored@gmail.com. Any of you guys can email if you wish to. And certainly I can try and help you on that. The other thing that I was going to say, Ali, when it comes to physical, physical addictions specifically, you must remember this. Like I said, they're always connected to what's happening in the internal realm, so in your soul realm. So there's something in your soul realm that is hurting, that is broken, or that is toxic. And when I get more in touch with the inner me, then I can begin to conquer the physical, because it's in tears, if you will. So my spirit connected to my soul connected to my body. So usually in the physical is where what's going on internally is manifesting, if that makes sense. So if I'm having physical addictions of any kind, whether it's pornography or food or drugs, alcohol, I must also and simultaneously address the internal if I'm going to conquer it completely, because it can't just be one area since it's all connected. So let's say, for example, people that use drugs to cope with stress or anxiety or whatever it is, or maybe it's just because they're so far into the addiction that they don't know how to live otherwise. There is a root to the physical addiction that we find internally. So doing that inner healing work is important. Like I say, the easiest way, and something I recommend all the time anyway, is doing a self-inventory, which is journaling. So 5 minutes a day, just write down your thoughts. And if you do that 7 days, like a week straight, and you go back and read them, you're gonna find a theme, especially if you write when you're feeling upset or stressed or you feel tempted, whatever it is, you're gonna find a theme in there that's gonna connect you to a deeper root. And that's when we begin to kind of process and uncover what's beneath it, if that makes sense. Yes, so your question, you said you have a question about sexuality, may I ask? And I said yes, but I'm not sure what your question is. So if you'd like to ask, I'm all ears. While you guys are thinking some more on this, I'm gonna kind of touch on this anxiety and depression a little bit. And I will say this is connected. I mean, anxiety and depression is often connected to addiction because, again, especially if it's, as I was teaching yesterday, if it's acute to chronic. So acute is basically like short term, but long enough and severe enough, okay? Chronic is, I would say in terms of time, let's just say 6 months or longer you've been dealing with it because of, again, some of the examples I shared yesterday. You live in a very unhealthy environment. Maybe there's a lot of hostility in your house or a lot of anger, you know, something that keeps you in the state of unrest. And a lot of times, for a lot of us, the addictions began, even if we weren't even cognizant of it, because of, again, trauma or just pain that has been with us for so long and we just don't know how to cope anymore. So we turn to these escapisms through addiction, sort of tricking ourselves into thinking that it's going to help my problems go away, it's going to make me feel better. And the deception with it, obviously, is that in the moment, it is a temporary escape, perhaps, but it becomes an entanglement and a bondage worse than that. And then eventually it becomes a complete death trap for us, okay? So this is why when I get in touch with, you know, my anxiety, my depression, what are the things that are stressing me out on the surface level even, that's my door into what's really going on. Okay. Addiction is its own issue and problem, but it is always, like I said, it's always connected to the deeper of what's going on. So just a little side note on that. But yeah, so yesterday I talked about the signs and symptoms, and I shared that when it comes to this anxiety and depression, some of us wrestle more with anger and others of us wrestle more with sadness. And depending on that is how you handle your anxiety. Okay. And then I shared for each one, if you struggle with anger and depression, there are kind of three main categories. I mean, this is just like surface stuff, y'all. It's not, there's so much more, but that you may have some of these symptoms and signs if you struggle with depression. So the first is to be withdrawn. That is to say, losing interest in things that matter to you, or things that perhaps bring you joy. While we're talking about this isn't the reason why I teach what I teach and I do what I do, because I do believe that the arts are the door to healing and recovery. There's a scientific reason for this, a medical reason for this, but there's also just a human reason for this. I truly believe God created, I mean, everywhere you look, there's art. If you go outside, it's art. And I think that that's sort of interwoven in us, and we have the blessing to partake in that, to be both the recipient and the giver of art and music. So your remedy, if you're struggling with any kind of addiction or anxiety and depression, is tapping into that part of your mind and opening the floodgates to your healing. So that's the first symptom, with being withdrawn, disconnecting from self, essentially, at the worst. I also mentioned boredom, loss of interest. And if you're struggling with boredom, a lot of it has to do with not having vision for your life. So if you feel like, I'm just kind of, I don't know what I'm doing, I'm just kind of, taking it day by day, we'll see what happens. No purpose, no vision, no direction. Boredom is going to be, unfortunately, your passenger. So yeah, and we can get into that in another class, because truly it's its own lesson. And then emotional dysregulation. If you battle with depression, you will have, on the two ends of the spectrum, when it comes to this dysregulation, you will either release it like compulsive, like just always crying spells, or you'll keep it in. And then when we move into anger, so one of the signs and symptoms of somebody who struggles with anger when they're anxious is agitation and frustration. So this means that you're very impatient, probably more impatient than most people would be, in circumstances that some would find that's really not, like, in other words, you overreact with agitation and frustration about a situation. But again, this goes back to you being completely out of your homeostasis. OCD is another one that I mentioned, obsessive compulsive disorder. So this is essentially, I'm trying to control the chaos by trying to control outcomes, trying to control circumstances, trying to control my physical environment. So, like, I guess the typical example is I clean everything all the time, even when it doesn't need to be cleaned at the worst. Or trying to control people. That's another one. And then, of course, emotional dysregulation. For those of you that struggle with anger, you will have fits of rage. And it's at its worst, it would get really violent. So those are my symptoms and signs, like I said. And next Monday, we're going to get into stages of anxiety and depression. And I think I'm going to leave it at that for this month on, because I don't want to introduce them all at once, but I am going to be doing this live stream. I decided this yesterday, actually. I'm going to be doing this Wednesday because it's the midweek. And the middle of the week is the perfect time for motivation and to encourage you. So if you're new to my channel and this feels like something you want to connect with, I will be here next Wednesday for mental health awareness. And invite a friend, anybody who's struggling with mental health, and certainly invite them to my one-to-one sessions, and invite yourself so I can meet you and help you get on your inner healing journey, help you find the rest and the hope that you're looking for, because we do have it. And y'all, trust me, we're all going through something, and it's very important that we learn about ourselves, and we learn that we're not alone, and that we learn that we have resources to help us through whatever we're going through. So any more questions before? I'll give us a few more minutes here, because I do want to keep this open as long as I can for y'all. Anybody have any questions? I noticed something interesting in y'all's. I'm wondering if this is just like a new thing, but so everyone said hi. Somebody want to? I have a question. Somebody want to explain to me why y'all are saying said hi with a wave, like it's past tense? It must be like a new kind of like, hey, what's up for these days? So yeah, by the way, I already mentioned this, but my my sessions are only 25 a session, and my sessions are an hour long. We can meet as little as once a week to as much as 5 times a week if that's something that you need or you're interested in. And all my stuff is in the description. You can go to my website and book directly. I am going to put that link for easy access because I feel like it would be quicker if you just know right away, yes, I want to sign up for a session. You just go to my pay link. And then I will get your information and I will send you the time and date that we can meet, or you can let me know. But I will message you directly immediately once I get that confirmation that you've signed up via my pay link. So yeah. Anybody else have questions before I say goodbye for today on anything? By the way, any artists and musicians in the house or in the chat or watching the replay, I also do one-to-one coaching for artists and musicians. I have a signature Build Your Dream Life as an Artist that I teach from. And so I help you, if you're an artist or musician, learn, number one, the truth that you can build your dream life, even though for a lot of us it takes a long time. And I share 8 foundational pillars and 5 essential building blocks. So this is something you're interested in. If you need help with, your portfolio, or, just trying to figure out how this works these days, please feel free to sign up for one-to-one for that as well. And I'd be happy to help you. I'm also on Instagram at She's Restored at Gmail, or at She's Restored, Instagram at She's Restored, and at Soñado Libre Sound. I think I linked all of that in there. But all right, y'all. I'm gonna say bye for now. If you have any questions later, or you're watching this after the live, feel free to email, and I'd be happy to help. I truly promise I would be so honored because I care about your mental health and I want us all well. Okay, talk to you soon. Love y'all. Bye.